What are we talking about? Well, we're talking about the first neck knife I ever purchased. I bought this years ago. I think I bought this back 2015, 2016 timeframe. A long time ago. I've had this for years. We're going to talk about the Cold Steel Scottish Spike. But before we really get into it, take a look at it. You know what time it is. Turn down the volume, because here comes a little bit of music. Mike here. Just wanted to throw it out there so that future Mike always forgets. If you haven't checked out the merch store, there's a lot of stuff in there. I got sweatshirts, I got t-shirts, I got coffee cups. There's a link in the description. If you want to support the channel, all the sales go to the merch store and providing the stuff, but then it also, I get a portion of the take of it. So like I said, merch store, sweatshirts, t-shirts, coffee cups, they're all really nice. Now, back to future Mike so he can tell you about a knife. Guys, this is Slope's Game Room with your host DJ Slope, and he is looking at, today, kick scammers and Indiegogo scammers. He does this a lot on his channel. It's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it. You guys know how I feel about scammers. We just did a podcast about that. But, you know, so I'll put a link to this below. Can't support him monetarily, like I always say. Can't give him any money, but I can send you guys his direction to give him some views. So it's a lot of fun. He does a lot of video game history and stuff like that as well. So, British dude. All right, guys, what are we talking about? This is the Cold Steel Scottish Spike. Now, like I said, I have had this for years. I had it out and I was showing it to Tino the other day and I was like, you know what? I never did a video about this knife. This was a neck knife. I'm not gonna say it was a great neck knife, but it's the first one I ever bought, but it does have some redeeming quality. It has its own little bits of character to it. So without any further ado, let's meet up down at the counter and take a quick look at the first neck knife I ever bought. All right, guys, let's take a look at this. This is the Cold Steel Scottish Spike. Like I said, I got this around 2015. I was on the Wayback Machine to get the price, and the last I saw it was like 2016-ish. They have it still listed on Blade HQ where I got some specs, but it is out of stock. Now, Cold Steel stopped making this type of spike. They still make the Spike series, but they're a lot different. They have like plastic handles. When these first came out, I got this. This was the cord wrapped version. It's simply a piece of steel, a spike with a cord wrapped handle. Now these were really cool looking. I figured out which one I wanted. I wanted something straight. This was meant to be, I was in the military at the time. This was a backup. I wanted something that I could have, that I could back up, and it had enough lashing spaces that I could put it on my gear if I wanted to. I did carry it as a neck knife for a while, and then the problem I always had with this is it was relatively heavy, and if you're moving around, it would actually, if you like jumped or something, it would come out of the sheath. So let's go ahead and look at some specs. So what you're looking at is a 3.9 inch edge, 0 ground, straight spear point, 420 stainless steel, with a sub-zero quench. Now, it is 7 inches overall, and I mean, it is right on 7 inches. 7 inches overall, like I said, cord-wrapped handle, made in Taiwan, and it comes in at 2.5 ounces. Now, I don't have batteries in my scale. My scale actually died, so we're just gonna have to go off their 2.5 ounces. Now, this did come with a SecureX sheath, like I said before. I kind of could carry in this when it started falling out of the sheath. I was pretty active when I was military, so if you jump off of something, it would like yank itself out of the sheath. So I didn't stop carrying it completely. I stopped carrying it as a neck knife. I started lashing it to my belt with paracord, and then I realized that it sat nice and deep in, and you could get it at an angle, and I actually would just carry it inside my belt, between my pants and my belt. And that worked out really well. So I did carry this for a long time. So what is this? I mean, it's just basically, this is a prison yard shank. So it's not a real thick piece of steel, comes down nice distal taper, and they've 0 ground it down. Now it is sharp. I have sharpened, you guys can see. I've resharpened this myself. I reprofiled a little bit because while it said it was 0 ground, it wasn't so much, and I kind of gave it my own edge, and this thing is sharp. One of the problems with this, though, has always been the sheath itself. And I'm going to tell you, I've talked about this before. SecureX sheaths. These SecureX sheaths were always done, instead of just regular Kydex, they were done with a fiberglass reinforced kind of heat moldable plastic. And the problem with that is anytime you pull a knife out of a SecureX sheath, it gets dull. Now this one's not as bad as others. This one has a different kind of pinch point. But as you can see, that's a nice clean package. I can put that right in my belt and then just pull it out. Now, the other thing is you have no way of really indexing. This is another reason that this was kind of unsafe. You had no way of really indexing and knowing which side the edge was on. So if you happen to get this in your belt backwards and you pull this out and you pulled that sheath up, you could easily cut yourself. I've cut myself with this several times because I had no way of really knowing, because like I said before, like people are like, well, what about the jimping? And you're a dummy because there's jimping on it. Yeah, but when it's coming out of the sheath, you can't feel that jimping anywhere. There's no indicator. This would have done well with like a little nub or something back here so you knew which was the sharpened edge. But for what it is, if you're just looking to let the air out of something or someone, it's pretty good. It's a nice little secondary, and compared to a lot of the other neck knives at the time, this actually was usable. You could actually cut with this. It actually was sharp, but if you just needed to pierce something, you could. Like, there's sometimes that you just need to pierce something. Like, I had, case in point, I needed to make a hole. I forget what it was I needed to make a hole in. It was a plastic container of some sorts, and we had put water in it. We wanted to let the water out, so we needed a small hole. This came in perfect for that. It is really, really resilient as well, because if you look at that taper on that. That thing is super thick, and it has held up to a lot of abuse because it is exactly what they say it is. It is a spike. So there's not a lot else to say about it. It's got a nice, well cord wrapped handle. Now this isn't like a cord wrapped handle where you could take that cord off and use it for anything else. You can see right there that cord is glued on, but it gives it a really good, I will say that the grip on this is great. Even if it's wet, it doesn't feel slippery. Jimping on it is a lot like the jimping, like I said, on that Pinkerton Design Main Street. It's a lot. I think it's kind of more there for show. It really doesn't get you anywhere unless you're off on the side of it. You could get it. If you had gloves, it might be a little bit better. I had thought at one point that I was going to get a Dremel and just open these up. But, you know, I just never got around to it. And I had this, I forget where this was, and it was sitting out, and I had it, and Tino stopped by. He's like, that's really, really cool. And I was like, well, why not do a video about it since it's out and I hadn't seen it in a long time. It was just unpacking stuff. So let's put this away, and I'm going to give you guys a little preview. There's something coming up. I know I mentioned it because I shot the outro before I shot this. There's going to be a video about this. This is a Ray Laconico LV Knives collaboration. This knife, Tino has had me, he has it in for sharpening. We've looked at it. I've played with it a bunch of times. It's a really nice knife. I want to get Ray to give me some info on this, like on design and stuff. So I might reach out to Ray. This is a big knife, but he wants me to recurve sharp. He wants me to sharpen this recurve, and this is a fun knife. So we're probably gonna take a look at that as well. Just a little heads up. And last, I know I mentioned the outro because just to tell you guys the truth, to save myself some of the pain and suffering of the getting everything lined up 3 different times, I've started shooting the outro before I shoot this, but I already know what I'm gonna say. I am going to probably eat this in a live feed as a fundraiser for my daughter's figure skating season. So, all right, guys, let's meet up behind the camera for some final thoughts. And I know I didn't give you a price yet, and I know I didn't do it in the outro. These were $23.95 if you were ever looking for one of these. So, all right, guys, see you guys up there. Like I said, guys, I saw these in the Cold Steel catalog. I went online, I got one. I can't remember where I got it online, but literally had it for years. It's a fairly interesting thing. Tino was really interested in it. He was like, oh, he's like, I wish they still made those. I want one. I've sharpened it. I've completely reprofiled it. It is really sharp. It doesn't stay that way, like I say in the video when we looked at it at the counter. It does have the SecureX, which is a nylon reinforced, a fiberglass reinforced nylon sheath. It has a tendency to dull it. It's not as bad on this one as it was on a knife that I mentioned, which was the Cold Steel Double Agent 2. I mentioned that when I was talking with Jared on the podcast about knives I wish I hadn't gotten rid of. But yeah, I've had this for years. I never really carried it as a neck knife. I always just kind of put it in my belt as like a secondary. So, but it's interesting, and it's a fun little thing that I've had forever. So, that being said, guys, that's the end of the video on that. If you like them, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down. Like I always say, any interaction is good interaction. However, if you don't like the video, if you're going to give it a thumbs down, please try to tell me why. I can't change content if I don't know what you don't like. I do know that I have some trolls and haters. I'm always going to get downvotes, so I just kind of ignore them. But just saying, if you want to support the channel, I do have a membership link. I'm going to make an announcement later this month. I believe that this month is the last month I'm giving a general giveaway away. I was looking at how much is going into it financially, and the fact is I should just be pretty much focusing that on my paying members. So I think August is the last month you guys are going to get just a general giveaway. So if you want to get on giveaways, about the only way you're going to do it is to get into my memberships here. Like I said, if you can't do a membership, if you just like a specific video and you would drop a super like, that's great. I am going to be noted. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a heads up. This is probably going to be a fundraiser I do in a live feed to benefit my daughter's skating season, just to help get some money. I'm probably going to do the Pocky One Chip Challenge. I've done it before. I didn't enjoy it. I swore I would never do it again, but I'll do anything for my daughter. So keep your eyes open for that. It's another way you can support. You can drop super chats and stuff in that video. But like I say, if you can't do any of that, if you just want to share the videos, that's great. I have affiliate links down below. If you're going to buy stuff on Amazon, I would appreciate you use my affiliate links because I get credit for that. I now have a new link to Ember Shirt Co. That'll take you just generally to Ember Shirt Co., which is my affiliate link. I also have my store, and there is a 10% off code that's just CrazySharp, all one word, capital C, capital S, CrazySharp, one word, and it gets you 10% off. Drop the knife. In my store, and I think anywhere else on the Ember Shirt Co. store. So guys, that's it. I love you all. Take it easy. Be good to each other in the comment section so I don't have to moderate that. And I will see you in the next video.